Thanks for joining us. I'm Clifton French with Real News Michiana, and I'm here with Micah Beckwith, who's running for lieutenant governor. The caucus, the GOP convention, where for the caucus for lieutenant governor and attorney general and all that is happening tomorrow. The vote is tomorrow. And here, just interviewing candidates. I have the same. By the way, I have an invitation out to Julie McGuire as well, who's also running. And Micah, I want to thank you for taking the time to join us. I know you're very, very busy.
Yeah, no, you're good. This is what it's all about: getting out, talking to the people, spreading the good word. You can hear my voice is a little scratchy because I think for like the last 3 weeks I've been talking nonstop. So my voice is like, when are you going to give me a chance to rest? So,
well, I think after tomorrow and a couple of days of celebrations, or conciliatory. Right, we don't know.
Celebrations.
Yeah. First off, Trump came out yesterday and endorsed Julie McGuire, who you're running against. Julie is kind of partnered up with who we believe is going to be the next governor, and so, first off, just your response to the endorsement from Donald Trump.
Yeah, I thought it was encouraging, and here's why: because they wouldn't be pulling Donald Trump in to give an endorsement for someone he does not know. I mean, he doesn't know me or Julie. He's only doing it because the Braun team is going after him and say, "Hey, we need your help because we could lose." I think if Donald Trump actually got to know me, he would probably say, "You know what? I'm going to give my endorsement to Micah because he's a lot like me." And so, but that's kind of how the game works, right? Unfortunately, it's kind of like, who do you know? Your friends, my friends, and then they just kind of stand up for your friends, and they don't always necessarily look at like the candidate and the qualifications. And so, but we are doing a really good job out there. I mean, I think that's our team's doing a great job. The message is resonating with people. I'm qualified for the positions of what the lieutenant governor does. The reason I'm running is really just solid in the sense that I want to give the voice to the delegates. Keep in mind, if I wasn't doing what I'm doing, there would be no reason to be a delegate this year. I mean, they'd still have the convention, but it would be a couple hundred people probably showing up because there would be no point. You would go down and just be a rubber stamp and just say, okay, establishment, tell me what to do. And they would say, you have to vote for these people, and that's it. And that would be it. And so to me, I've been a delegate since 2016, and I hate being told what to do. I don't want to be a rubber stamp. I want to be somebody that says, no, let me put my eyes on it. Let me see what's going on here, and let me make the best decision as I believe is the right thing for me. And that's what I'm doing. I'm giving that voice back to the delegates, and it's resonating. I think we got a great chance to win tomorrow.
Before we move on, if you're watching this video on YouTube, don't forget, like this video and also subscribe to our channel. That really helps us out. And don't forget, visit realnewsmichiana.com. There you'll find daily investigative stories, exclusive content put together by me. You'll also be able to make a one-time donation, or if you want, become a subscribing member. All of that support helps us keep the lights on. I mean, go back to 22 and the Diego campaign, right?
Yeah.
And the Diego Morales, Secretary of State. Like, I mean, that he was anti-establishment, right? He came in there and he rocked it. So one of the biggest criticisms from your opponent has been saying, "Hey, listen, Mike is not qualified. He doesn't know what's going on."
Yeah.
Right? So I thought it was
let me
interesting.
Address, hey, listen, let me address that.
So what are your qualifications?
Yeah, so the lieutenant governor is the Secretary of Agriculture, and so I come from the ag world. My dad was in the dairy business. He was the president of the Michigan Dairy Association. My grandpa started the business back in the 50s doing packaging for dairies. I've worked with farmers. I worked in a dairy in college. Been still in the family business to this day. I've got business background. The lieutenant governor is over OCRA, which is the Office of Community Rural Affairs, and that is small business development for rural communities. So I've got that as a background. The lieutenant governor is also the chair of the Civics Education Commission. I teach constitutional literacy American history 1 day a week in a Christian school for high school students in Carmel, Indiana. And so I've been doing that for years. The lieutenant governor is the president of the Senate. So you're working on legislative agendas. You're helping push good legislation through, stopping bad legislation. I've been working with the Indiana Family Institute for the last 6 years on policy initiatives down at the State House. I'm the director of the Who's Your Leadership series, which is a leadership development series that was started by Ryan McCann and Kurt Smith and Mike Pence and guys all the way back in the early 2000s. And Elise Nushala used to be the director. She's now our comptroller. Senator John Crane was the director before me. I've been the director now for the last 4 years. And that teaches legislative agenda and how people can engage in the process of stewarding our government. So really everything that the lieutenant governor does, I'm very well qualified to do. I mean, my tools and my tool belt are just, it's almost kind of scary how they line up so well to this office. So when they say I'm not qualified, what they're saying is he's never been in public office. Well, neither was Donald Trump. And he did a great job in his first term. I mean, he did so many things. I'm really the true outsider. We run, people always want to brag about being the outsider. And then here I come actually being the real outsider, saying I've got real world experience I can bring into the world of government, because the world of government needs people with real world experience. And that's what I bring. I'm also a pastor. I mean, that's my passion is helping people, serving the underserved and being the hands and feet of Jesus. And so that's, I think all of those things, it's just going to make me a great lieutenant governor to serve the people over the next 4 years.
I think that I have been surprised with the amount of momentum you've appeared to gather, right? So I've been very impressed. So for full transparency, I'm also a delegate. I'm going to be down there casting my vote, not making endorsements. However, I will say one thing that's very important to me is being able to get somebody on the phone.
Yeah,
being able to talk to somebody. And I have not been able to get a hold of Ms. McGuire, which has been pretty disappointing. I'm going to give her another couple hours and allow her, allow her to hop on for an interview. Yeah.
Well, one thing I learned from, I've gone back and looked at other lieutenant governors in Indiana, and you can take their strengths and weaknesses and kind of see what they did well and what they didn't do well, and hopefully make, kind of make it a better, step forward going into the future. But I loved Suzanne Crouch's accessibility.
Yep.
She was always accessible. And that's one thing I want to carry on. She like, you call her, you text her, she gets back to you. And I think that's important. Because as servants of the people, I mean, we work for you. So if you call or text, I should be able to respond, at least if I don't answer right away, at least within, the next, few and so that's and I've always been that way, whether it's the businesses that I own, in my church world, whatever it is, it's, shoot me a text. I mean, Clifton, you and I have worked together for a while, exposing all the nonsense going on in our culture. And, we talk often and we try to help each other out, fighting a good fight. So that's how I'll be as lieutenant governor too.
Yeah. And I don't agree with a lot of what Suzanne Crouch did, but the one thing I really appreciated was her accessibility. You're exactly right. So what do you expect? What do you expect tomorrow?
Well, I think we're going to win. And I don't say that just because you have to say that. I really do think that what we're seeing right now in the polling is that it's kind of neck and neck between Julie and I, but there's about a third of the people that are still undecided. And I think when I get up and lay out my strategy for why I'm running, I'm not somebody too that they're trying to paint me in a corner that I'm going to be this flamethrower. I'm going to try to destroy everything Mike Braun wants to do. Mike and I are friends. Like, we've worked together in the leadership series since 2018. I've always had him speak at our leadership conferences out in DC. And so we've got a good working relationship. We always have. And I expect that will go forward. And so I think we're going to be a great team. I think what I'm going to bring to the Braun administration is energy. They need a little energy. They need a little, boost in their step. They need someone that can run a good conservative agenda down the field when he lays out that agenda. And, right now the Republican Party is a little bit old. We're a little bit slow. We haven't really been sharp. I think we've gotten a little complacent and lazy over the last 15, 20 years. And so hopefully what I can do is begin to put us back into a place where there's energy, but also return us to the principles of the party. Because I think most of us know, if you're in politics in Indiana, that the Republicans really haven't done a great job of staying true to Republican principles. I mean, taxes have gone up under Republicans. The government has grown under Republicans. We had lockdowns and mask mandates. We have, schools, pornographic material, LGBTQ agendas in the classrooms. And it's all been under Republican leadership. So I think people, while we believe in the Republican principles, we're looking at it and we're saying, what's going on? Like, why aren't Republicans doing a better job at upholding Republican principles? And that's what I'll bring to the office. And anyone who knows me, I've been involved in politics and fighting the good fight for many years now in Indiana. They know I never back down. They know the cancel culture can try, but they're not going to whip me into submission. I've been threatened. My job's been attacked, and I still stand up for what's right. And so, as lieutenant governor, that's what you're going to get as well.
So, I want to go back to talking about your relationship with Mike Braun. So I know you're saying, hey, listen, we're friends. We got a good relationship. Why do you think he chose Julie then?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I've not asked him why. I'm glad he chose somebody else, though. And here's why, because part of me running was to force the conversation of who does the lieutenant governor work for, the governor or the people. And the way it's written right now in our Constitution and the way that we nominate, it should be for the people. And so if he would have come out and said, Mike, I like what you're doing, you and I align, and I want to pick you, I would have kind of said, well, I would have had to have said, well, thanks, Mike, but you can't give away something you don't own. I mean, that was the principle of why I started to run, is I wanted to return it to the hands of the people. So I'm actually glad it forced a conversation. It forced a competition. I'm a business owner. I love competition. It makes us better. It makes everything better. And so the fact that he picked her, I think, is a good thing, because now the delegates really do have a choice. First time in 35 years, the delegates have had a choice when it comes to the lieutenant governor. So I think potentially, from what I'm hearing, things like different speculations. He's also said a few things to some delegates, but I think, he was like, well, I want Julie. She's got legislative experience. Okay. She's been in the legislature for a year and a half. I feel like I have just as much legislative experience working with the Indiana Family Institute. If I had to guess, though, probably the main reason that Julie was picked is because she's never gonna say no. I think the establishment always wants yes people around them. And while I like Mike, I think he's done a good job as U.S. Senator. He hasn't always been right. He's made some mistakes. I mean, he voted for the $1 trillion aid package during COVID. I mean, he stood with BLM. There was things that he's done that I don't think he necessarily believed in the core principles of those things, but he had wrong people around him telling him wrong information and giving him bad advice. What I'll do is I'll be the voice of the people saying, well, I don't think this is necessarily right. Like, I think we should do this. And the beauty in it will be, when I win, everybody will know that I'm there on behalf of the people and not on behalf of the governor. And go back to Mitch Daniels and Becky Skillman, Mike Pence and Sue Ellspermann, Eric Holcomb and Suzanne Crouch. All of these governors threw their lieutenant governors to the curb. They kicked them out. They said, well, you disagreed with me, and you're here to work for me, and you disagree with me. And they booted him. And they really did. I mean, Suzanne Crouch even has been ostracized by Eric Holcomb. He didn't endorse her. He took her off her campaign signs in 2020. It was just Holcomb. There was no Crouch underneath the Holcomb. And why is that possible? Why do we think that that's okay? It's because we've turned the lieutenant governor office into a secretary of the governor, and that's not what it is. The governor has 30 plus appointment heads to agencies. Those are the yes men. He can hire them and he can fire them on anytime he wants. Shouldn't we have at least one office in the entire executive branch that is just a little bit more independent, that answers to the people and not the governor? That's the pitch I'm making, and people love the message. That's why we have so much momentum.
All right. Well, hey, Micah, I really do appreciate you taking this time, sitting down with me once again. I'm going to try to get Julie on. Maybe not, but we'll see. I appreciate the access that you offer, as always. So any last thing you want to say before we get going?
Come on down to our hospitality suite at the JW Marriott tonight at 8:00. If you're a delegate, or even if you're not a delegate, stop in, say hi. We're going to have a good conversation going on, people speaking throughout the night. And it's going to be a great time. And then, if you're a delegate, I'd love to secure your vote. I'd be honored to have your vote. And if you elect me to be your lieutenant governor, I will be the hardest working lieutenant governor, conservative, constitutional fighter that you've ever seen in that office. And so it's going to be a good 4 years with the Beckwith Braun ticket, or the Braun Beckwith ticket. I don't want to pull a Kamala Harris here saying Harris Biden. Yeah. No. So, but if you elect me to partner with Mike Braun, I'm going to do my job to help make him the best governor we've ever had in the state of Indiana. I mean, that's my heart for this, is let's have a great Republican team going forward in the next 4 years. And I think it's going to be really good.
All right, Micah, thanks again. I'm going to play the outro, and I'll see you down there later this evening.
All right. Sounds good.
All right.